Hello and welcome back to our how-to video of how to create different digital breakout components. So the last video talked about creating content puzzles and the different types of content puzzles and some guidelines to follow for those. If you looked at the digital breakout example website at the beginning of the module, you saw that there was content puzzles. For each puzzle, there's a content puzzle, and then there's a digital lock down here. And we use Google Forms to make these digital locks. So for each one, a content puzzle, a digital lock, final puzzle has the digital lock. So today we're going to go over how to create these digital locks. So I've put together just this little example website. This should be kind of similar to what your Google site is looking like right now because you just have the content puzzles on there and you haven't created the digital locks yet. So I'm using this one as my example content puzzle. So first, obviously we need the answer of our content puzzle. So the answer to this puzzle, the code to break the digital lock is ABC because the answer to each of these questions, so this question, the answer is A, this question, the answer is B, this question, the answer is C. So the code to our digital lock is going to be ABC. We need to make sure we know what the code is going to be before we start working on our lock. So to create the lock, we're going to go to Google Drive, New, and we're going to open a Google form. We're using Google Forms. You're going to have a different Google form for each content puzzle, for each digital lock. So we're going to go ahead and title it. I'm going to do puzzle number 1 multiple choice. This is just to make it easier for me to find because I've created several different puzzles. It maybe if you want to call, if you had like a name of your digital breakout, you would want to put content puzzle or, you know, the name of your digital breakout puzzle number 1. If you're going to have multiple of these in your drive, make sure we've got that up there too in the title. All right, so the next thing we need to do is check the settings. So we're going to go up here to the settings gear. First thing we want to do is go to quizzes and we're going to make it a quiz. That quiz is what's going to allow us to put in the correct answer. So we're going to make it a quiz, release grade later, respondents are not going to see any of that. General, okay, so when you're doing this at school with your students, if you're using your school Google account, if your school has one, you're going to want it to collect their email addresses automatically, and it should because you're within the same institution as them. For us right now, we're going to take collect email addresses off because we are doing this with our peers in our professional development, and we don't need to collect the email addresses of the people testing our locks. If you're going to be doing this with students and you want to check that they have completed the activity and you want to confirm that each student has completed each digital lock, then you will want to collect the email addresses, and we'll talk about that later. So for our purposes, we're going to turn that off, and we just need to make sure we've got it quiz with all of the release grade later and everything else turned off, okay? So next thing, form description right here. This is where you can put a little hint. So for ours, we just have these multiple choice questions. I don't think this one really requires a hint, but like let's say you were doing another puzzle that wasn't as obvious how to answer. Like thinking back to the content puzzle, say you were doing the one that had the fake email, a text one, and there's bolded letters or something like that, and you need just a bit more information about whether the answer should be letters or whether the answer should be a number. So like if you're looking for them to count the number of letters, you may want to put hint digits or hint letters or hint all uppercase or all lowercase or something like that. Basically just how to write in their answer correctly. And the question, so then we're going to go down to the question here. We want to make sure first we change the question type to short answer. That's going to allow students to type in their responses, and then we're going to put in a question. So rather than a question, it's kind of like instruction. So if we're looking at this information here, instructions they need is probably to answer the multiple choice questions. So we're going to say, answer the multiple choice questions above. And when we link it into our site, the form or the digital lock will be down here. So it'll be above. Answer the multiple choice questions above. The correct answer, type the correct letters as your code below. You can phrase it however you want if you want to get creative. So our correct answers for those was A, B, C. So that's how we're going to put it. Maybe you have students that would put like A, comma, B, comma. That will change things. So if you want to add it in your form description up here, the hint, no commas, lowercase, no spaces, or something like that, then you can do that. So we've got our answer in the answer, so we're going to click done and go back to the question spot. Okay, the next thing, this is very important. We have to make sure we get this right. So we're going to go down here to this little menu, these 3 dots here, and we're going to select response validation. Response validation is what's going to check the response that the student has typed in to see if it is correct or incorrect. And if it's incorrect, it allows us to give them a prompt of this is still locked or incorrect or something like that. So our correct answer is ABC. It's not a number. So we're going to change it to text. And we need our text to contain ABC. So this means if they type in something that is not ABC, they're going to get this custom error text, which we're going to figure out what we want to put there now. So I would say we're going to put still locked because it's a digital lock. We want to go with the breakout theme, still locked, try again. If this is a harder puzzle to solve, you may want to put a hint here. So still locked, try again, hint, hint, look at the bolded words, or hint, something that's going to help them with the actual puzzle solving if your puzzles are getting a bit more challenging than just the content. These are more puzzle hints. So we want to test this and make sure that it works. So we're going to go up here to preview. And we know that our answer should be ABC. So if I type in anything other than ABC, it should be wrong. So let's say they put CCC. Still locked, try again. Okay, good, it's not working. Let's say that we put BCA. Still locked, try again. Okay, if we put ABC, we got the right answer. Oh, it worked. Okay, now we need to make sure that they have a message when they get it correct. So we've got the message. It won't even let them submit if they have it wrong. So now we need to figure out when they do submit it because they got it right, what do they see? So we're going to go back up here to settings and we're going to go to presentation. So this confirmation message is what they would see, like if they use a Google form and they click submit, the confirmation says like, thank you for taking this survey, your response has been recorded, whatever. Since we've set it, or we have changed the response validation to where they cannot even submit unless it's correct, this confirmation message is going to serve as their either revealing clues towards their final puzzle or congratulations, you've completed the breakout, something like that. So I'm going to say unlocked. Great job. Your final puzzle clue is, let's say that their final puzzle is, each digital lock that they open reveals clues towards their final puzzle. And maybe their final puzzle is going to be a word. So each clue is providing them with, letters towards that word that they have to unscramble and put in there. So we'll say your final puzzle clue is T, safe. And let's test it and make sure that it's going to work. So we're going to go back to the preview again. Let's make sure like anything that's incorrect, that's not ABC, doesn't work. And then if we do type ABC, the correct answer, we get unlocked. Great job. Your final puzzle clue is T. So now they know they've finished puzzle number 1. They can move on to puzzle number 2 and eventually on to the final puzzle. So once you have, well, before we do that, let's say that your answer that you put in here was a number. So just, say whatever your content puzzle was, the answer was 44 or whatever, okay? So we go here and we obviously need to change this, the response validation. That's what will not let them submit unless it's right. That's important that it works correctly. We're going to change it to number equal to. So anything that's not equal to 44 is going to give them that still locked, try again message. And let's just check and make sure it worked. So let's say they do 45. Still locked, try again, 44. Great job, you did it. Okay. Here's my thing. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and change it back to ABC since that is the correct answer. Let's see, still locked. Answer key. See. Oh. Okay. So once you've got your form done and you've done the preview to check and make sure it's working properly, you're going to go back to your Google site here, and this is where you're going to embed your digital lock right onto the page. So we're going to go into Google Sites to Insert, and we're going to scroll down to Forms. And we need to find the correct form that matches. So see, I've got all these, I've been making these for these tutorials, so I've got all these puzzles in here. That's why I named it Puzzle 1 Multiple Choice, so I knew exactly which one I'd be looking for. And when I click Insert, it just puts it right onto the page where the students don't even have to click any links or anything. It just sends them straight to this. It's not going to work when you're on here. You have to have the site published and everything, but that'll put them, center it, right onto the page there. And that is how you make your digital locks. So let's talk about when I was talking about collecting the email addresses. So if you do want to collect the names and email addresses of your students to verify that they have done the assignment, this is where Google Sheets comes in here. So we can go to responses, and remember, it's only going to let the students submit their answer if they got it right. So really this is kind of just like a completion check to see who has submitted an answer. So I can go, once I go to responses, if I click this little green button here, it's going to open up, create a new spreadsheet, and I can open up a new Google Sheet, which will let me see who has completed, who's typed in the correct answer. This is because we changed the validation to let it submit. Since we chose to turn off collecting email addresses, we don't have names on here. So this isn't very useful for what we're doing, for what I've set the form to do right now. But in a school Google owned Google Suite, it'll have the names of the students here. So this kind of just gives you a check of who completed it and who didn't. That's another reason why we have the final puzzle on here too, because the students have to complete the previous puzzles to get those clues in order to answer the final puzzle. So you can choose to use the Google Sheet to definitely check by name who has completed it, and you definitely probably want to do that if you're going to be assigning a grade to this or something. You need to be sure that they really did submit an answer for each of these rather than maybe just communicating with a friend on what the code letters were to submit the final puzzle. Or if you're just using it as like a review activity in class, then just maybe the first group to complete the final puzzle wins, or something like that. You know, you don't have to have a final puzzle either. You could just have them complete these different puzzles. But I think adding that final puzzle in there kind of gives it a bit more that gamification that we're looking for, because they've got to complete all these tasks, collect the clues, rearrange the clues in the correct way to solve this final puzzle at the end. So I believe that is it. And if you have any questions as you're creating your own digital locks, please feel free to post in the questions discussion board in the module, email your instructors, reach out to your classmates, or rewatch this video. Thank you.